These are the absolute worst jobs in the Imperium. The Astro Militarium. 3 weeks of training, 1 laser rifle, 15 hours to live. That's the life, or lack thereof, for a guardsman. Guardsmen are regular humans turned into soldiers. They use simple laser rifles, wear thin armor, and get thrown into battles against creatures that can crush tanks with their bare hands. The job exists because the Imperium needs trillions of fighters, and regular humans are the cheapest option. It all starts with the planetary tithe, a tax every world has to pay to the Imperium. Part of that tax is people. How they get picked depends on the planet. Some hold a lottery, others empty their prisons, some just kidnap whoever's walking down the street. Once taken, they say goodbye to home forever. Training is short, a few weeks if they're lucky. Conscripts learn 3 things: how to shoot, how to march, and how to obey. That's it, then they get shipped off to a war zone they can't even pronounce. When guardsmen reach their war zones, the real misery starts. Daily life becomes digging trenches, stacking sandbags, cleaning weapons, and waiting for orders that might be their last. Food is corpse starch ration bars, which is recycled protein made from the dead bodies. Water is whatever the planet has, filtered just enough not to kill them immediately. Sleep happens when they can get it. Every quiet moment carries dread because they never know what's coming. Then comes actual combat. Lasguns can hurt enemies. Sometimes. Well, not always enough. Orcs charge in huge mobs. Tyranids swarm like giant insects. Undead robots keep walking even after being shot. Chaos soldiers fight with powers that twist reality. The only way for guardsmen to stand a chance is by firing together, thousands of rifles creating a wall of light just to slow the enemy down, not stop them, slow them, and hope someone else has heavier weapons. Commissars stand behind the troops, ready to shoot anyone who tries to run. Everyone knows the deal: die facing the enemy or die facing the commissar. At least the enemy might miss. There's an imperial term, 15 hours. It comes from a deployment on an orc world where the average survival time for new guardsmen in active combat was 15 hours. That's from landing to death. 15 hours. But in luckier deployments, guardsmen can survive for years, even long enough to become veterans or retire to a new world. But they never know which kind of battle they're walking into until it is too late. By M41, the Guard loses millions every single day across thousands of active war zones. There's always another war, always another regiment, always another recruit who doesn't know they've got 15 hours left, and the Imperium replaces them the next day. Servitors. The Imperium needs machines to do heavy work, dangerous work, and boring work. But they can't just use real AI. Those machines rebelled millennia ago and nearly wiped out humanity during the Age of Strife. So they found a loophole. Don't build thinking robots. Take humans and turn them into half-machine slaves called servitors. They look like robots, but they're technically still human, so it's fine, according to the rules. Servitors emerged from the early treaty between the Imperium and the Adeptus Mechanicus, aka the Machine Cult. Humanity got help rebuilding its empire. Mars got permission to mass-produce cybernetic workers. No one asked what the workers thought about it. From there, servitors became the backbone of every factory, starship, shrine, and battlefield. They haul ore, scrub plasma conduits that are hot enough to melt skin, perform surgeries under direct supervision, or stand on warships firing guns bigger than houses. They never sleep, they never complain, they never get paid. Perfect workers. But the process to make one is where things get ugly. Tech priests drill into the skulls and remove the parts of the brain that allow thinking, remembering, or making choices. A control chip gets installed in the empty space. It forces obedience. Absolute obedience. The subject can't disobey even if they wanted to, because the part that wants anything is gone. Pain blockers exist. Most factories don't bother using them. Pain burns sin, according to the Mechanicus doctrine. Makes the flesh more receptive to the machine spirit. Then comes the body. Arms replaced with industrial clamps, drills, and welding torches. Legs swapped for hydraulic pistons or treads. Some get weapons mounted where their hands used to be. By the end, they're broken cyborgs with human organs, keeping the machinery running. They're tools, and tools don't retire. They say servitors should have no thoughts or memories left by the end, but some cases show this is not always true. A cleaning servitor remembering sunlight, a factory victim begging mid-operation, a damaged one whispering a forgotten name. Some even weep oil tears. These glitches happen when the mind wipe is faulty or rushed, which means a portion of servitors might be fully aware, trapped inside bodies they can't control until the organic parts rot. And the messed up part of this is considered merciful compared to execution. Warp engine refueler. This entire job is to walk into a running warp engine and push new fuel caskets into place before the radiation melts them down. On Navy ships, everyone knows this is suicide. The only debate is whether you last 1 minute or 2. Most Imperial warp engines are ancient designs from humanity's old high-tech age. They were built with no safe refueling system because the blueprints for the automatic loaders have been missing since the dark age of technology. Fixing them would mean redesigning the engines that the tech priests treat like holy relics. They believe changing anything risks angering the machine spirit, or worse, accidentally creating true AI, the kind that once tried to exterminate humanity, so the warp engines stay exactly as they are. Deadly refueling process included. The Imperium did try other methods. There were remote-controlled robot arms, but the intense magnetic field scrambled sensors and controls. Then they tested the Servitors to carry the fuel caskets. That also failed. The radiation fried their organic parts even faster than normal humans, and their lobotomized brains could not improvise when things shook or shifted mid-insertion. After that, they tried other automatic loading machines, but the new parts didn't match the ancient engine design. When they tried to connect everything, the warp engine reacted badly. In some tests, entire engine rooms blew up, expensive machines destroyed, servitors wiped out, tech priests nearly killed watching it happen. After all the failures, the choice became simple: keep risking the sacred, irreplaceable reactors, or send in cheap human workers they could replace forever. They picked the humans. Refuelers are taken from underdeck hive workers, criminals, or void-born conscripts. That's the people born on the ship who never saw a planet in their lives. They get a thin lead-lined suit and painkillers that barely do anything. In teams of 20 to 100, they enter the reactor chamber while the engine is still running at almost full power. The radiation hits them instantly. Blood boils in veins, eyes burst in their sockets, skin peels off in sheets. They have under 2 minutes to slam the new fuel caskets into place before their legs give out. Maybe they finish the job, maybe they don't. Either way, servitors hose what is left of them off the floor and prepare the next team. On many older ships, this remains the only way. A few elite Navy flagships and Mechanicus vessels use upgraded refuelers with augmatics that buy them an extra 30 seconds. Everyone else uses the old method: throw humans at the problem until it's solved. Space Marine dreadnoughts. Most soldiers fear dying. Space Marines fear surviving too long. Because if their injuries are bad enough, they don't get a funeral, they get shoved into a giant metal coffin called a dreadnought. It's called honor. It feels more like a life sentence with extra steps. This nightmare exists because the legions kept losing heroes they couldn't replace. During the Great Crusade in M30, veteran warriors with centuries of irreplaceable experience were dying faster than new ones could be trained. They tried letting veterans die with honor. They tried recording experience in manuals. They tried extensive augmatics. Marines died during surgery. Nothing worked. So, the tech priests created dreadnoughts, war machines that preserve whatever pieces of a Marine are still alive. Problem solved. Except for the Marine. The process is brutal. After a Marine is dragged off the battlefield half dead, Tech Marines cut away anything that cannot be saved, like arms, legs, even most organs. What's left gets sealed in a sarcophagus filled with fluid. Neural cables plugged into the spine and brain. Then the sarcophagus seals shut forever. The Marine wakes up in absolute darkness, can't move, can't see. Tries to scream, no mouth, no lungs. Then they activate the dreadnought. Suddenly, he's seeing through sensors instead of eyes. Moving a tank instead of his body. Everything feels wrong. Between battles, they sleep in stasis where time stops making sense. Centuries pass like minutes. Every time they wake, more is lost. Brothers dead, wars forgotten, can't remember names, can't remember why they're fighting. Each cycle damages the brain. Eventually, they forget everything. All that's left are combat protocols. Most end up as walking weapons with no pilot left inside. By M41, every chapter is these ancient warriors entombed in their halls. Some have been asleep for thousands of years. Some wake up and don't recognize the Imperium anymore. Doesn't matter. Wake them up, point them at the enemy, put them back to sleep. The Emperor. And the worst job in the Imperium might just be being the Emperor of mankind. Cause imagine being strapped to a machine the size of a cathedral, body dried to a husk, screaming for 10,000 years straight. The brain fights monsters no one else can see, while consciousness slowly disintegrates. Can't sleep, can't take breaks, can't quit, can't die. This nightmare started because the Imperium needed a safe way to move around the galaxy. At first, humans used a shortcut dimension called warp, but the warp is filled with monsters called demons that hunt anything that enters it. To survive warp travel, humans need a psychic lighthouse called Astronomicon to guide them. Without it, ships get lost, eaten, or never return. So the Emperor tried to fix this permanently by building the Webway, a giant tunnel system, kinda like the one used by an older alien race called the Eldar. If it worked, humans wouldn't need warp travel or the psychic lighthouse at all. But before the Emperor could finish it, his son Magnus the Red ruined everything. He used a psychic message to warn the Emperor about another son, Horus, who was rebelling. But that spell tore open the Emperor's shields and let demons rush into the tunnels. 1 psychic warning, 10,000 years of consequences. The Emperor had to drop every other duty and sit on the Golden Throne full time, using his mind to hold the portal shut. If he stopped for even a second, Terra, Earth, would be overrun. Then Horus really did rebel. During the Siege of Terra, Horus nearly killed the Emperor. The Emperor won, surviving barely as his body was broken beyond repair. The problem was the webway portal still needed to be shut and the Astronomicon still needed a battery. The Imperium tried replacing him. Malcador the Sigillite volunteered. Lasted for a short period before turning to ash. Teams of the most powerful psychers in the Imperium all died screaming. Building a second throne, the prototype exploded, killing everyone in the chamber. No other person or machine could support the webway seal, or power the Astronomicon. So the only solution was to strap the Emperor to the throne permanently. His broken body became the only power source strong enough to run both systems at once, both requiring psychic force that would instantly kill anyone else. By M41, the throne itself is failing, requiring more power to maintain the same output. He's burning faster just to keep the lights on, and the entire Imperium can't help but depend on a corpse god who can't let himself die. Well, those are the worst jobs in the Imperium. Which one sounds worse to you? Hit subscribe for more 40k, and thanks for watching.